And on my 45th day, I was given a deal where if I locked in for 2 weeks, I could go home. If I did amazing for 2 weeks, I'd be able to go home. So I was like, okay, that's easy, I can do it. When I got kicked out, it was mainly for the Bruno. You get a bunch of remnants, food scraps of vegetables. You get orange husks, slices of apples, you get grapes, whatever. And you find a shampoo bottle. We have to use shampoo bottles because it would just be way too obvious. About 4 or 5 days later, my roommate at the time, him and I drank the Pruno. I remember waking up the next morning, throwing up blood, and I couldn't eat food for the rest of that day and the next morning. And then in the middle of the afternoon was when they found the Pruno, and I had to then explain it while I was like barely conscious because I haven't eaten in like 36 hours. So I got kicked out of that house and put onto the main campus. They moved me into a room without a bunkmate. And I was like, that's weird, but I don't care because I have a bathroom to myself and a whole room, so I'm not arguing. 1:15, the lights flick on, I hear the door slam. 2 humongous guys are standing there, I'd say at least 300 pounds each. And they say my name, and then they're like, you're going to a higher level of care. And I was like, no, I'm not, thank you. And then I pulled the sheets back over my head and tried to go back to sleep. And then they just were like, no, that's not how this works. And then brought me on a 12-hour road trip to Utah. I had a therapist. It was a signed one. Didn't get to choose. If we did, would have not chose this one. I'd say essentially fucked up a very, very large portion of like mental health and like my like the way I think and all that shit. Like, she completely ruined everything. I would always like kind of dissociate. I mean, that's just because of like that was like how I got to not think about life. I've never really been able to say I'm feeling blank. No, I can't do that. With that moment, I know I was pissed off. I know I was sad. Like, I know everything, but I didn't show anything whatsoever. Like, I didn't, like, feel inside like I felt anything. I didn't, like, have any sort of emotion towards it at all. Because, I mean, at that point, it was really, I was just, like, perma-fried. Like, I couldn't, like, express them, feel them, have them, anything sort of that. I just had to say yes, nod my head, because at the end of the day, she's the one that signs the paper saying I get to go home. So I just had to keep sitting there and enduring it the whole time. There was a level system there, and the whole goal was once you get your level 5, you get privileges, and you basically have your ticket home. I mean, I never got past level 2. And the level 2 privileges were just I get free time. I was only allowed to sit on the couch like 3 times my whole 1 year there. You get in trouble, and the trouble severes from a spin on the Consi wheel, which is called the Wheel of Misfortune.
Hey, what is going on there?
And then there's one good one. That's choose a treat. You get a fucking fun-sized Kit Kat. Never got it. It's weighted. I know it is. Probably the worst experience I've ever had, and I still don't know how this is legal. When I was on separation in the annex, it's a small room, there's 2 bunk beds, there's a bathroom, and there's a couch and a desk in the middle of the room. That desk was where I sat for 3 weeks straight. In that desk, was not allowed to move. If I fell asleep, they would wake me up by pushing me out of the chair. I got PO, which was privileges on hold, which means that I can basically do anything, but I can't go on the visit. And he knew that that's all that I wanted was that visit. That's all that I wanted, like, ever, was to go on that visit. He got the visit canceled, and I remember I was sitting outside, and he came outside to come talk to me because he wanted to be like, oh, like, I hope you're okay, blah, blah, blah. And I picked up a brick next to me, and I went to go slam it into his head, and I missed, and I hit the wall in front of him, and then he just started screaming at me, and I was like, if you say another word, I'm not gonna miss. Every time I saw him, I would absolutely geek. I wouldn't, like, put holes in walls. I would, like, rip through staff members just trying to get to him. And they all hated me because it would take, like, 6 or 7 of them to hold me down because I had, like, the fight or flight strength where it was like, this is the last fucking fight I'll ever have. Like, and I'm not losing.
Do you remember what the visit was?
It was for your birthday. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the letter you wrote for my birthday?
Nope.
You told a different story of you sitting outside. So I just think it's funny that you left it as a letter to me.
Yeah. I mean, because I didn't want to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, I wanted to seem like I was the most, like, I was in the complete right. Like, I was whatever, nothing to worry about. I mean, because I obviously didn't want to tell you about the fact that I tried to kill him.
Boy, just be yourself.
Like, the thing that's crazy about that place is, no matter how much I could say this, if you were in Discovery Ranch with me, if you were a staff member at Discovery Ranch, you would not believe me. But if you were anyone else in my life, you would believe me. If I said I wasn't a violent person. Because I'm not. But in there, I was probably the most violent person there could be. Every single time someone did literally anything, I would launch myself across the table and try to, like, tackle them or beat them up or whatever I could do just to try to get some sort of rush. After I was there for around 6-ish months, and that's when, so one of my friends, his name was Jackson, Jaxon, but he was just a pretty normal kid. He was really, really depressed all the time. One day, I was at the house that Jackson was living in, and I was sitting on the couch next to him, and he told me that he was going to the bathroom and he wasn't coming back. And I was like, bro, like, I don't know, like, I don't know what to do. So I told a staff member, and the staff member said to me that I'm overreacting and he's not actually going to do it. And then I go to the bathroom, and Jackson was trying to put himself on top of a hanger. But, I mean, he, like, couldn't really, like, bring himself almost to do it. And then I started screaming, and a staff member came in and started yelling at me and telling me that I should have told them sooner. And I knew at that moment that I had to get the fuck out. I knew I was not getting level 5. I couldn't get past level 2, let alone level 3, which is halfway there. I saw some shit that kids were doing and that was not getting them kicked out, so I knew I had to really go for it. One night I caused, like, a huge scene at dinner with a bunch of the other houses. I started pressing this one kid that I knew he gets really mad about everything. While this huge altercation going down, I then go outside and I try to run away while I'm wearing all red clothing and it's minus something outside. I'm in bare feet and I'm, like, absolutely delusional. I was doing that for like 7-8 weeks in a row. All of the head people that own the place got there, and then they were like, okay, this kid's leaving. The part that, like, that taught me the most is just learning how to live, like, with myself and with my own, like, thoughts and just deal with it. And now I know, I mean, definitely how to keep myself alive. So.
And you want to.
Yeah.